This is one I've been promising to do for a couple of weeks, and we are getting to it. This is something very dear to everybody in the Chicago metro area as well. Who remembers cooler screens?
Oh, yeah. The what if instead of looking through glass into a fridge to see what's in the fridge, you could have like a massive like LED billboard saying like beer with a little animation of beer being poured?
Yeah. Molly, did you come across cooler screens in your time on this earth?
I have seen them like once, and I think it was when I was in New York City for the Sam Bankman-Fried trial.
Yeah. So you obviously, you must have loved them, right? Because they're awesome.
Oh, immediately. I mean, why would I want to look at the real thing when I could look at a picture of the thing?
Or you could also participate in the economy by viewing an ad, and that's important.
That is
to
true.
Do.
Yes.
So to those of you who don't remember, Cooler Screens was a company we talked about a couple of years ago, I think, and we updated when they were involved in some very contentious litigation with Walgreens, who basically sponsored their rollout on the basis that their screens didn't work, really.
I mean, that's a pretty minor issue in the grand scheme of things, you would think.
Well, the great thing is also, if your screen that you've replaced your glass fridge with doesn't work, what you're left with is much worse than a glass fridge, which is nothing. You're left with just a normal opaque door. So these are smart freezer doors that played ads triggered via proximity sensors, like someone walking by. I mean, I just cannot for the life of me imagine what it would be like to work stocking shelves in a Walgreens where you could not walk to any of the many work tasks you have to do over an hour without hearing the same, like, I don't know, like fucking like Doritos ad played for you over and over and over again.
Sort of a Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You sort of situation, yeah.
Yeah. Now, this story that's come out about it updates from their contentious lawsuit. So we last talked about this in 2023. In December 2023, this is now being written about sort of for the first time in detail. Cooler Screens and Walgreens' relationship got so fraught that Cooler Screens bricked all of the freezer doors at Walgreens out of spite.
How? Like, why do they have that capability? This is like a really low-level Russian cyber attack, is to be like, you know, we'll see how the West does without their fucking fridge screen.
This is like
now.
it's a nice kind of sort of like consumer case for like all the sort of like IDF's like genocide technology. It's like, well, yeah, it kills populations. It can sort of like destroy populations, but also it can prevent the person that you dislike from getting a drink from the fridge.
Yeah,
just a red alert going off on my phone that's just like the fridge doors are broken.
Yeah, people are no longer able to see where the Arizona iced tea is.
I've been getting texts non-stop, by the way, about that.
Yeah, the fridge doors. Tell them it's okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
At first, the outage didn't arouse suspicion because the screens were so terrible that they were always flickering, crashing, or showing the wrong products. And this is a direct quote from the article. Every so often, they caught fire.
What's in this fridge? Oh, I guess it's fire. I guess it's a surprisingly realistic depiction of the fire that's in here.
They're just trying to emulate the Tesla business model.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, hey, what's in here? Well, it used to be ice cream. Now, not so much. But store managers were stuck with them due to Walgreens' agreement with the company to roll out the technology and share ad revenue. And that's why, by the way, Cooler Screens could control the screens from Cooler Screens HQ in Chicago, is because they were like, it was a hardware business where the main revenue was going to be ad sales. And you might wonder why they got such a sweetheart deal with Walgreens, and that's because Aris Vafiadis.
Did you say arson?
Yeah, Aris Vafiadis, Chairman Bob's brother.
Yeah, Chairman Bob's fire-starting brother.
It's nominative determinism once again. You know, you had that Dorman guy, and now you've got Mr. Arson,
the guy who fights corporate America with the power of fire. Aris Vafiadis. He co-founded Cooler Screens with the former Walgreens CEO Greg Wasson, which is basically how they got this incredible sweetheart deal, and why Walgreens was stuck in a contract with Cooler Screens, which could not deliver more or less any of what they promised.
They delivered a lot of stuff being on fire. You got to give them credit for that.
If you want a hot Arizona iced tea, then it's great.
Yeah,
and who doesn't?
Check it out. So basically, what happens is, as we know, Cooler Screens, once Walgreens was like, "This is obviously a terrible product that's broken, and we regret buying it," was sued by Walgreens got sued for $200 million. So you say, why would they want to fuck off? A digital display displays, this is from the article again, could be adjusted over the internet, but they depended on store staff to physically stock goods according to the adjustments made. Too often, customers would open a door projecting rows of milk only to discover soda or empty shelves instead when the screens worked at all. So yeah, you could say in like Cooler Screens
This
HQ.
is the fridge that pranks you.
Yeah, prank fridge.
In so many ways. It could be nothing. It could be on fire. It could be completely different. And I think that's beautiful.
It could be a goat. It could be a car. You should often switch, by the way. Mathematically, you should switch the fridge door that you open.
The Monty Hall fridge.
Yeah. Basically, as they were... So this is a terrible product, right? And again, the whole idea, like when you actually think about it, when you take a step back and think about it, saying we're going to manage the stock of every Walgreens from our 75-person office in Chicago, and that's going to be sort of semi-automated. Like that's never going to work, ever.
Well, listen, I mean, why this negativity, you know? Like, I think the sort of prank fridge that's under the thumb of a guy who can just destroy it remotely is, I think that's a great piece of technology.
Yeah, they call it vendor risk. Boy, is it. And so basically, in all this like legal battling, that's when Aris Vafiadis bricked the fridges. Quote, the team secretly cut the data feeds to more than 100 Walgreens stores in Chicago. Customers assumed the fridges were out of order and instead had to rummage through them one by one. Staffers pasted pieces of paper on the opaque screens, and when service requests were filed with Cooler Screens, they simply marked them all resolved and didn't fix anything, which is hilariously petty and is where I want to get into the story of Aris Vafiadis, the CEO of Cooler Screens. And man, I cannot believe we didn't talk about when we talked about the company initially. That's a little bit, by the way, of shoulder malpractice by me. Vafiadis said about the company, and by the way, he has such Trump diction. He says, we're somehow surviving an assassination attempt by Walgreens.
Okay, really good sentence in and of itself.
Yeah. And it will be a miracle if we do. He said he had to cut off the store data feeds to get Walgreens to respond to overdue invoices. By the way, when we see how this guy ran his business, we'll keep that in mind. He then said, but as soon as we flip that page, which we will very shortly with Walgreens, everyone's going to say, let's look at the core of the product. Is this real shit or is it bullshit? I got the Trump. The Trump diction for me was, as soon as we flip the page, which we will very shortly with Walgreens.
Yeah. Like, I'm really enjoying paranoiac fridge magnets, I guess. I'm the world's only gang-stalked CEO.
I do think it is important, though, when we're evaluating products to determine, is this real shit or is this bullshit?
I'm so often asking that, yeah.
Well, when I look at the core, after we flipped the page, which we will very shortly, if that is, I survived the assassination attempt by Walgreens.
And it will be a miracle.
Yeah, by the way, the Walgreens is going to kill me. I'm the most prosecuted man in the entire world. It'd be a miracle if I survive. But when we turn the page, and we will very shortly, it's going to be amazing.
It's really weird how all of those Walgreens whistleblowers kept turning up missing.
The Walgreens wet work team. Aris Vafiadis went on, I got dozens of life-threatening emails over a freaking screen in a store.
What's a life-threatening email? What?
Just email from CEO at Walgreens.com. Oh, I'm so mad at you. No, email from CEO at Walgreens.com. Subject line, I am going to kill you. Main text, the only way to prevent this is to brick all of my fridge doors.
It's a blank email of just like an exe file, and you've really got to like figure out whether you're going to open it or not.
Yeah, just the Walgreens CEO just sending like the Saw video. Aris Vafiadis wakes up in a fridge that wakes up in like a door with a room with 8 exits, all of which are covered in bricked fridge doors. Want to play a game? Vafiadis began working on his idea in 2017. He had previously made his money starting a well-regarded cafe chain called Argo Tea in Chicago, and said he fantasized about Argo becoming the Starbucks of tea, but eventually set his sights higher, saying, actually, Argo will not be the Starbucks of tea. Argo will be the Apple of tea.
I think Starbucks is kind of the Starbucks of tea on account of they sell tea there. It's very easy to co-locate tea and coffee like that. Just,
No, it's never been done before. No. know?
The apple of tea. That's
I will say there was an Argo tea in the library on my college campus, and one of the worst things about it was that they did not co-locate coffee and tea, and you could not get coffee there.
what the fuck?
Tea only?
Yes.
Hell, that's why you know that fucking Arsene Avakian is crazy, right? Because he'd be like, I have an actual successful tea store. I want it to be the Starbucks of tea. Should I do what Starbucks did and like try to be everything to everyone? Abso-fucking-lutely not. I will not be doing that. I will never back down from my principles. I would like to be Apple, please.